When most companies say we need better marketing, Stone Crandall hears something else. Because what they usually mean is we need more customers. But here's what Stone, former CMO of Magnolia, yes, Chip and Joanna Gaines, Magnolia, these companies don't need more people. They need to take care of the ones they already have. And his biggest lesson, stop treating marketing like a magic customer faucet. For brands willing to slow down and rethink what marketing really is, this one shift can change everything. Okay, so Stone, your Instagram is filled with you working on Range Rovers pretty regularly, to the point where and one day you made this post where you said, people think I must be working on cars as my job. It is not what I do. I do marketing for companies, but you have this obsession with, is it just fixing Range Rovers, or is it just in general just fixing cars?
Yeah, Land Rovers.
Land Rovers specifically?
I mean, same, I guess.
Same.
No, yeah, I think really it means I'm bad at marketing myself. Yeah, because I
enough of us watch you that I don't know if that's true.
Yeah. Somebody once told me, a very smart woman told me that as a marketer, we have to be our own PR agency. And I think she was telling me that because she's like, you need to be better at this.
She's subliminal, like, hey.
I spend a lot of time talking about other people's things and not much time talking about mine. Anyway, so yeah, I love old cars, and I love my kids and my family. So yeah, my Instagram is basically old cars. And
but how many have you fixed up? I've known you for like almost 2 years now, or a year and a half. And in that time span, I feel like I've seen you in 3 different cars. One time I pulled up to get coffee with you, and you were in a Hummer. I was like, what is going on?
Yeah, what was going on? My wife asked the same question about that. Came home with that, and she's like, what's going on?
And
Are
so
you in a midlife crisis?
Is it like a Are you in a midlife crisis?
Yeah,
I
might have been.
Is it just like, I like to do this because it takes my mind off of things? Or is it like, okay.
Yeah, fully. I don't golf. I wish I did golf.
Me too. But I don't have enough patience.
Yeah. So my grandfather was a mechanic in the Navy. He lived across the street from me my entire life.
Okay.
And so he had a dirt bike in his garage that didn't run. And when I was probably 11 or 12 years old, I said, can I drive the dirt bike? He said, it doesn't run. I said, well, what if we got it running? He said, well, if you got it running, then you can drive it. So we started working on that when we were younger. And then we bought a couple cars kind of leading up to my 16th birthday. I said, I want to work with you on something that maybe can become my first car. Yeah, he salty Navy guy.
Yeah.
I mean, just so much of who I am is from him. So anyway, I love cars. So I love to hobby.
I secretly want all of your cars. Like every time you make one and then fix one and then you sell it, I'm just like, God, I wanted that car.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've done a lot of cars. I mean, 50, 60 cars probably since I was 15 or so. But so for I mean, not to get too far off topic, but like classic cars to me are so much more. There's so much more to them than like a car. I don't know. To me, there's one side of me that looks at it and it's like, it's just a possession. It's a thing, don't get too wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
Who cares? And the other side of me is like, it is this opportunity for me to slow down for myself and to do things physical with my hands. I spend so much time at the computer, so much time on screens.
Yeah.
And so when I can step out in the garage and get dirty and get greasy and do things that I'm not sure if I can do, right? Like I'm not a mechanic.
Yeah, that's some of your videos. So you're like, I think I'm going to try to do this. You're like, it worked.
Yeah. And a lot of times it doesn't work, like 4 times. And then the 5th time it works.
Yeah.
So it's a chance for me to slow down, to do something physical, to like, challenge myself in that way I love creating change. So in the marketing world, which I'm sure we'll get to, like it's the same in cars. Like I can buy an old project that has 100 different problems with it and looks like it's lived a tired life. And like, I can invest myself into it and change it. And I love to see that like physical and operational change. Yeah. 2, I get to work with my kids. Yeah. Just the same way my grandpa worked with me. Yeah. I get to work with them.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I don't know.
Have any of them taken to it and they enjoy it with you, or are they all kind of like they endure it?
Yeah, they go in like seasons, and it depends on what I'm doing. But right now I have a 3-year-old.
Oh gosh.
And he's like the most into it. He's like, we call each other worker guys, and he's got like his worker guy. I know it is like, and so he's like all in. Okay. But he's also in that phase where it's like, just dad is and mom are everything.
Okay. Before we get into marketing, I have one more question because you did something so rad the other day that I saw on Instagram. And I was like, dude, this is it. You had taken your 11-year-old. Is that right?
He's 12.
He's 12.
Turning 13.
12, turning 13.
Like in a week.
You did like a guy's trip thing, like back to where you used to live before you moved out here. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Two
moves before Waco. Before Waco, you were living in, what is that, Encinitas?
Encinitas.
Okay.
California.
So what did you do? You did like a trip with him for what?
Yeah. Inspired by author John Tyson.
Okay.
Anyway. Yeah. So the idea is like he's 12 turning 13 and just entering into young manhood, I guess. And so the thought is kind of bring him back to his roots and show him where we lived and where we ate and where we played.
Oh, that's cool.
Took him out surfing and
what a trip.
It was sweet. Yeah. And then I had a question for him and I'm like, if you could add one thing to this, what would you do? Like, what do you want to do? And he's a Star Wars geek. So he's like, I want to go to Star Wars Land and Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
So we went to Disneyland from like 7 a.m. to midnight and just
love it.
Just ran it. So
I love it, man.
It was sweet. It was a good time for like, we have 4 kids. So you don't get much one-on-one time with anybody. And it's so unique when you get a kid one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because
they feel different.
They feel
like my son, when I have a 9-year-old and when I bring him alone, he's like a different person.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's so special to see that. Mm-hmm. And Knox is his name, the oldest. And he is more reserved by nature.
Okay.
Like our third born is absolutely just like Mr. Personality and but Knox kind of in hectic situations kind of steps back and is just pretty quiet and reserved. Okay. And so oftentimes in our family, because it's just usually constant chaos. Yeah. He's not making a ruckus, so he's just kind of doing his thing. Yeah. But in that, it's kind of hard because then he doesn't get a lot of that attention. Right, so it's sweet when you get to
sit with them specifically,
pour attention on them.
I love it. Yeah. So I just want to color in the pages of who you are because I think all of those fabrics make up a little bit about how you see marketing, and because you've done something really tiny, really small, working with a really small thing called Magnolia with Chip and Joanna Gaines, and I don't this other side thing that people might know about, like I don't know, Sunbum. Literally we were talking about it. Somebody put Sunbum on their kid before they came in and we interviewed them. So you've worked with some incredible brands on a CMO level, fractional level, helping them launch products. If we started first, before we get into Magnolia, because the journey of you becoming the CMO at Magnolia is an amazing one I want to hear about. Yeah. When you think marketing, when someone says marketing, what is it? How do you look at it? You fill in the blank. What are your thoughts on, like off the cuff, like, hey, this is what I think about when I think about marketing. It's like, doesn't need to be a textbook answer, but like, what is the thoughts that you have about it?
That feels like a loaded question, but when someone says marketing, I usually assume we're on a different page. Like I
love it. You're we don't say the same thing.
Well, no, I usually start with the assumption that we're not probably thinking the same thing.
Wow.
Because I just think marketing is this big, broad kind of general term that people use for a variety of things. And they're usually probably talking about something very specific, like a very small part of marketing, but they use this like marketing term. Okay.
So what do you then do? Like, what is your thought process? If someone said that to you, what happens next?
Well, somebody's like, oh, we need to work on our marketing. I usually start to ask questions about like what, why do you say that? What's keeping you up at night that's making you think that thought? Like, what is it that's a stressor in your life that makes you think, oh, if we just had marketing, then that wouldn't be a stress. And oftentimes I think a lot of people just look at it way too narrow.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, don't you think?
I mean, I love it because it's like talking to a specialist, right? Who sees it with such a distinct view. That's like, I think you're right. I think people broad stroke marketing, and especially because there's social media marketing, or there's the how do I do my email campaigns, or how do I do promotional marketing and get people in the door into my space? Like there is such a wide breadth to it, but also there's these unique craftsman inside of it, which I think you kind of are, where I love that you said I usually don't think we agree, because I would have probably thought that about you because of the way that you do your life, the way that you talk when I talk with you. You don't first strike me as the quintessential marketer.
Okay.
Like you don't, because you almost have this, dare I say, like philosophical, like approach, this story driven, like without going in, like I use a story framework. Like it feels like you have a little bit of a different vantage point. I don't know if that's fair to say regarding like, you don't first go to data. You have it feels like you have that. I've heard you talk about pulling that lever and knowing when you need to talk about those kind of metrics. But I also have heard you talk about it in a way that feels a little bit deeper. And you mentioned it earlier, like a change that you want to see people make or something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think when people say marketing, they're either talking about something very, very specific and narrow, or they're talking about the very, very broad. And I think brands typically think they either need to be, they need one thing or they need everything. And the reality is they probably need something in the middle.
What's something recently that you were like, hey, we're going to jump into your CMO role at Magnolia and how you framed that out, how you did that. But what's something recently when someone came to you with marketing and you came to a solution? What was the solution you were like, this is what we worked on and this is what we did when we were trying to think through this problem solving of marketing for them? Is there something recently that comes to your mind?
Yeah, well, two different brands that I've worked with, I guess just as examples of where I think they were framing it incorrectly.
Yeah, love it. Do it.
You know, they were, you know, I won't name specific names, but like there's this challenge of people will immediately go to if their business is stagnant or in a decline from a revenue perspective, and they say, oh, we need more customers. Yeah. But for some businesses,
which is very common.
Yeah, we just need more people.
We just need more people.
We need to reach more people. And so marketing can look like that sometimes. Like, we need to reach more people. Yeah. But for these two brands specifically, which operate kind of on more of a lead to convert type thing, I look at what they have going on, and it's like, oh, that you actually have a lot of people. You have more than you can handle people, and you actually
so they had more people in their like
in their ecosystem, in their CRM.
Okay.
And this is a brand I worked with many years ago, and then a brand I've worked with recently is the same, two totally different businesses, but same problem. And so we then actually look at like the experience of how they're how do I say, like being nurtured into a possible conversion. Yeah. And there's just so many gaps in that process. And so marketing then becomes this very different thing they didn't think it was, which is, how do we communicate to our existing database that maybe, if they didn't immediately answer the first email or answer the first call or immediately respond to the first text. How do we like nurture that person through? How do we, segment these folks off to kind of the different reasons or needs?
So you're going like, you went from what I'm hearing you say is you're going, they said marketing, you looked in going, you don't need more people in your door. You need to handle the people you have already in your door, quote unquote, better. And by figuring out why they're dropping off and then segmenting them into different buckets.
Yeah. And maybe we're getting too nuanced.
No, it's good. It's good.
But
I
think, they look at it as we just need more people. Yeah. And our conversion is this and it is what it is kind of thing. And I looked at it and said, no, we have plenty of people, but we need to handle the people we have better, more uniquely, more specifically. We need to be able to look.
Did they resist you? Did they resist you when you said that?
Not really.
Because I love that. I love that stage. They're like, we need more people. You're like, no, you have more than enough. You need to handle them better. Yeah. I think if we could pull that phrase out right there alone, you have enough people listening. You just need to handle them better. Is a great, also another kind of different way that you take marketing. I'm like, so good. It's so good.
Well, it's going to be so much easier and less expensive for them to do that than to just continually try to acquire more and more people. Yeah, I think so many brands default to just like, we need to, dump money into ads and just need to get more eyeballs on it. And when you actually look at, what that business needs to increase revenue significantly in a lot of cases, it's actually not that. They don't necessarily need more people or eyeballs. They just need to work with the people they have coming in a more considered way.
I love that.
Like if you get the people you have coming to convert at an even incrementally higher level and spend a little bit more than they are spending now, you can get some big, multipliers in revenue at the end of the day.
And this is without going into the names, because I want to respect that. Is this also where you're seeing people go like reoccurring or second time buyers, or are they dealing with people buying another of the same thing, or are we talking like, hey, how do we get them to buy a new product? And what's that incremental thought process you're having there when you're like, if they can do an incremental more X, Y, or Z? Is there any other insight you can give us on that?
In terms of like if brands are thinking about that?
Yeah, like when you say like if they could get them to make an incremental more from that existing group, what do you like? I'm basically going, if the person doesn't understand what you're saying there, how do they look at their business and go, oh, I've been looking at that wrong. I've been looking at not repeat customers. I've not been looking at, or like what's a way that they need to think about that if they haven't been thinking like that? Like,
yeah. Well, yeah, I think you look at your existing pool and if you can get them to spend more, and purchase more frequently, really it's you have an interested party of people. Yeah. You have folks that have shown interest in what you're doing. Can you convert more of them? Yeah. Can you get them to spend more? Can you get them to purchase more frequently? And that's kind of it, really.
I love the simplicity of it. I love it because you're like, this is pretty basic. Yeah. This is what it is. How do you ever have people be like, that just feels too brass tacks? Just get people to buy more. Like, do you ever have like resistance to it?
Well, oftentimes where, and this is getting into, less of kind of the brand side of things and more of just, like the nuts and bolts.
Yeah, that's
really
great.
Of like,
that's great.
Hey,
that's fine.
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, every company, even if they're, a very like an emotional story-led brand, like they need to increase revenue or they're not going to exist. So sometimes, it's like, let's just cut to the chase, right?
Yeah.
We need to make more money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a lot of companies overcomplicate what they maybe somebody said, hey, you need to lean into data. You need to be a data-led company. You need to whatever. So they start having dashboards and spreadsheets and weekly meetings where they're tracking all this data. But so much of this is like vanity metrics, right? They're like, oh, we lost 100. We did this post and we lost 100 followers, I love
that you call it vanity metrics. It's so good.
Well, because it's just
good, man. I love it. I love it.
And some people
shoot those sacred cows. I love it.
Totally.
Dude.
It's somebody would disagree with me on that.
I'm sure.
And I think that's
it's
great.
fine.
Please disagree with me on that.
Yeah. They're allowed to.
But I'll sit in meetings and somebody will say, hey, we are we lost some followers, or our social media engagement dipped a little bit, and I'm like, I don't care. Literally, I don't care.
Why don't you care? Like, what's in your frame of mind that you're like, I don't care?
Because
like, what are you thinking? Like, what's going back in the back of your mind to that? You're like, I don't care.
I don't think it matters. Like I don't think anybody really fully understands what's going on in the back end of social media and all of that. And I think there's obviously, I've worked with some really, really talented content creators. Yeah. And folks that have been incredibly successful on social media and have created kind of formulas for what that could kind of look like. But it's also always changing, and I don't think it is not like the silver bullet to success.
That's it.
And even if you have this like massive social media following, it doesn't necessarily translate into business success. Now, I'd say, like, as a business, would you rather have a really vibrant social media following or not? I'd say yes, of course you want a really vibrant social media following. But I don't think it's like anything that somebody should like live and die by. Yeah. And in the scheme of things, if it's the only thing you're tracking, and if you're spending a lot of time in a meeting talking about, why maybe that post lost 14 followers, I'm like, I just think you're wasting your time.
Love it.
Because people are going to come and go. I've even unfollowed some brands or things that I've followed that I really, really love. But I just, it's like I'm kind of in a different phase in my life, and maybe I'll come back to them, maybe I don't. But like, I don't know.
It's not getting lost in those metrics. Yeah. Okay, so here I'm gonna take us what feels like a hard left or something.
Let's do it.
Magnolia, Chip and Joanna Gaines, your CMO. How do you get there? And then it's like a dog who catches a car. What did you do when you got there? Like, what's that process like? And when did you come in? Like, I just want you kind of like to tell that story a little bit more.
Yeah. Born and raised in Colorado.
Okay.
Love being in the mountains. Studied filmmaking, actually.
Oh, wow. Which it lines, now that you'd say that tracks with how I wondered how you think.
Yeah. I think like a filmmaker, I guess. Yeah. Out of college, worked for a film company called Warren Miller. Okay. Makes like adventure ski movies.
Oh gosh, come on.
Yeah, which was pretty cool. So that was like my dream job. Honestly, I thought that was my dream. So immediately I interned with them, out of college, got a job with them, immediately was sent up to Utah and worked with a cinematographer up there named Tom Day. And I was a PA, in the high alpine mountains. And I was working with a group of professional skiers and with Tom Day, and we were up like above Alta basically. And I was loading cameras and kind of working one step ahead of them, and they would shoot, and then I would set up cameras and break down cameras and whatever. Anyway, so that was like, I thought I was living my dream. Yeah. There was a really tragic accident that happened on a shoot that I was on, and it scared me a lot. So I quit. Okay. My wife was living in Texas. She was finishing her last year at Texas A&M. There's a guy there that needed a roommate. So I was like, I'm moving. I'm going to pack it up. I became a substitute teacher in College Station, Texas, for a hot minute because I needed a job while my wife, then girlfriend, finished up school. Anyway, fast forward, we got married, moved to Boulder. I started in marketing with a church, like a local church in Boulder. Cool. And we both were like just discontent and wanted to move. Felt like there was more outside of Colorado. Moved to Southern California. Wanted to live in Encinitas. Okay.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to live in Encinitas? Yeah. My gosh.
So I started working in the surf industry there. Okay. Doing kind of freelance content creation, marketing, digital marketing. Was standing in line for coffee at a coffee shop. Okay. And
this already sounds like it's going to be so interesting.
Yeah, this honestly was the moment that my life shifted. Wow. That sounds dramatic, and I've never actually said that, but I really think it is, honestly, professionally.
Yeah, I love it.
This was my like professional moment. I had no idea.
Wow.
Standing in line at a coffee shop, was standing behind this gentleman, and the coffee shop was next to this old like auto shop. Okay. The auto shop was being turned into an office. Like they were painting it and kind of, cleaning it up and make it into this like cool industrial office. And I said to this guy standing in front of me, I was like, do you know what's going on? Like what's going in there? And he said, oh, it's actually my business. We're moving our headquarters here. And I was like, oh, what is it? And he's like, it's Sunbum. And I was like, oh, cool. I think I've heard of that. And he's like, yeah, we're based in Cocoa Beach, but we're going to open a West Coast office here. And I was like, that's cool. I said, I'm Stone. He said, I'm Tom. So it's Tom Rinks, and Tom Rinks is, I don't know if y'all have, he's got some stuff you can, How I Built This episode you should listen to. But he is a brilliant brand builder. Yeah. And he's got a really cool story. Gosh. And so Tom and I started a conversation.
So you and Tom were in line at coffee.
Yeah, he was.
And you randomly asked him what's going on.
It's just like I was a dum-dum. And I was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's my business.
I love it so much.
And so we got to talking, and I was telling him about kind of what I was doing in the surf world. And he was like, why don't you come? Would you ever come work with us at Sunbum? And I was like, well, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. So
this happened. He asked you that while you were in line?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like when we were in line or if it was a follow-up conversation, but it was within the same probably week or so.
Oh, gosh.
And so it was a really fun time. So I moved into Sunbum full time and honestly got to work. You know, I was an employee with everybody else, but I really got to spend a lot of time with Tom and kind of mentor with him. And I didn't realize it at the time. Okay. And I've told Tom this afterwards, since, just like I totally took for granted all that I was learning from him. I was like young and dumb and I felt like I was better than I was, you know, like I had I don't know. I feel like when you're kind of in some of your first jobs, you think you've got all your stuff figured out. Looking back, I'm like, I had nothing figured out, but he was really gracious with me. And so I learned a ton from him just about brand building, honestly, about building.
What was your role there at Sunbum at that time?
So I was, I led digital marketing.
Okay.
Really small company at the time. We grew a lot while I was there. And then obviously they've been acquired since. So I led all things kind of digital and social. Okay. Which for a brand under Tom, you know, it was a high stress kind of role for me at the time because, you know, I don't know, just kind of representing how a brand like that comes to life in the digital world is unique. And it was like right before a lot of those, you know, one of the things that I worked with him on was pitching like, hey, I think we should launch, a new e-com environment for Sunbum. And I remember,
so it didn't exist.
They had e-com, but it was very much like it wasn't really a part of the business. Gotcha. It was not really considered, and it represented almost no revenue. And I said, I think we need to reimagine like what this digital environment is.
Why did you think that? Like, what was some of the stuff going on in your mind? Were you seeing stuff?
I don't know. I just felt like I felt like it wasn't something we should be proud of the way it existed in the moment. Like I didn't like I didn't want to like share it with people. Like, I get that. People were like, where do you work? And I didn't want to send them the website because I was like, oh, I don't know really. But also, you know, it was like right when we were starting to see shifts where people were starting to buy. This is like really where people were starting to buy from Amazon. They weren't really buying D2C necessarily. And there was somebody said like, hey, I don't think people will buy sunscreen online. Like I remember a conversation where somebody said, I don't think that's a thing people buy online. Like it's like buying toilet paper online is a quote that I heard. And I remember thinking like, I think they will. I think from a brand like us, I think they will. So anyway.
So you pushed for a new reimagining of the e-commerce.
We reimagined e-com. We imagined that whole digital experience. We worked with an agency out there in Encinitas called Wedge and Lever. Okay. And we rebuilt it. And it really is today, if you go to the site, it's really still basically what we built then.
And what was that? So you built it with these guys, you get it going. Did you feel validated? Like what was that? I'm like, I'm just asking like personally, I'm like, you take yourself on a whim, you put a risk, you're like, hey, I think we need to reimagine the website. Not super proud of it. Yeah. Got to put it out. Did it pay off?
Yeah. Yes, it did. I mean, e-com is, you know, when I left was a significant part of the business. And I think it was probably I'm assuming it wasn't obviously in those conversations, but a decent part of that acquisition that happened.
So the e-commerce expression ends up being like ready for how people are going to purchase in the future. It becomes even an advantage to the acquisition process. But for you, it validated the idea that people will buy this type of thing online. Like that concept, you're like,
worked. I mean, it was kind of like that front end of where like D2C brands were emerging. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think mostly before that, it's like, well, you need to get your product into retail. Like you have to get your product into retail. It was kind of when Shopify was starting to make some big moves. And so I think it was let
me ask you a question, okay? And then I want to dive into when you moved from Encinitas to was Waco after Encinitas. Okay. if we were just to take a freeze frame here for a second, e-commerce, what's your thoughts right now when you talk to somebody about e-commerce? Do you have any like things you're like, hey, this is what I think about it. These are a couple of my thoughts about e-commerce and how people should be thinking about it.
Yeah, like small brands.
Yeah,
like D2C.
anything. Yeah. If that's easier for you to think, like that brand, a smaller brand should be. How should they be thinking about that?
Yeah,
right now?
I think there's crazy amounts of opportunity to. I mean, you could take yourself from nothing to an e-com business.
Yeah.
In a day.
Yeah.
Which I think is insane and amazing and incredible.
Yeah.
I think where people typically go wrong is they
Yes,
assume if I just do that, then I'll be successful.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, two thoughts. One is, and I've said this before, like on social, like nobody cares that you exist.
Yes.
And that's a really hard thought for a business owner or a brand.
Yeah. It's hard to hear that. It's to hear for somebody to say nobody cares about your business.
Yeah, and that's dramatic.
Nobody, I get what you're saying,
but
because it's true.
Yeah. And a lot of folks do that.
We're going to call it out. We're going to call out. Somebody is mowing the lawn outside our office right now. And so we're calling out the weed whacker that I think is right here by our window. So, okay, we can keep going as it goes, because I think it'll pass here in a minute. But landscaping's happening right now.
Yeah.
So they assume that everyone loves their brand, but you're like, they don't care.
Yeah, it's like,
which is true. I mean, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's that hard reality where like I can be really, really passionate about something and launch this business.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks make this false assumption that passion that I feel will translate.
Yeah.
Just translate through the air to other people. And it might to some folks.
Yeah.
But a lot of folks, it just, they just don't know. They don't feel it. I don't know.
But in that you're saying, okay, I can launch this e-commerce business in a day, which is incredible. Yeah. Insane. Second part, you're going, people don't care about it. So then the third part then goes, you got to get people to care. Is that right? The next leap there?
Yeah.
Or for
well,
you,
I mean, I think it's like you need to have them see it and understand it and care about it.
Yeah.
See, understanding. I don't know. I'm shooting from the hip here.
Yeah,
like
good.
I haven't said this out loud before, but like see, understand, care.
Yeah. Right now, Stone Crandall's framework for marketing is coming out. People.
Yeah. Like we're doing
time.
this fun. See, understand, care, need. Maybe that's the fourth.
Yeah.
And I think brands will maybe try to address one of those things, thinking one of those things will solve the whole thing. Oh, if they just see us, they'll care, want and need or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's good. So you moved from Encinitas to Waco for the opportunity, or what? How did that go? Let's dive in there.
Yeah. So we had our third baby in Encinitas.
Okay.
Living in a very small house on the beach. It was incredible, but very, very small.
Yeah.
And we had this kind of, just kind of family freak out of like, this is so expensive. We have 3 kids. We don't live near, my family lives in Colorado. My wife's family lives in Texas. We had this like moment of like, kind of just family panic.
Yeah. So
we also had 3 babies under, I don't know how old. They were all very small and very needy.
Oh, gosh.
And so I think we just had this kind of like, oh my gosh, my wife and I. And so we said, okay, we need to move. We don't want to go back to Colorado, even though we love Colorado. Let's go to Texas. So let's start to explore Texas. And so we're mostly looking at like Austin, Dallas, But then I was like, well, we at night we would watch Fixer Upper.
Okay, so you're aware of them, and you're like,
I was aware of them, yeah. So I was like, let's just see like what's going on. I had been to Waco once before in my life. I went to a coffee shop there called Common Grounds when my wife was in school at Texas A&M. So that's about all I knew.
Yeah. Okay.
Is like Chip and Joe and Common Grounds coffee. But so I was like, I'll just go to the Magnolia website, and then they had a job listing for head of digital experience or something like that. And part of that job was like, you'll oversee all of our e-com and digital businesses. And I was like, oh, that's what I do.
Yeah.
This is my wheelhouse. I'll apply, and I just can't, you never think like it's a real thing. Anyway. So I actually got a phone call back, and they were like, "Hey, we want you to come out to Waco and let's talk about it and do an interview." And so,
so then you interviewed, you get the job there right away at that same role.
So, yeah, I mean, I came back home and then, got another phone call. Yeah. And so, I was like, I think we need to go to Waco, and I don't remember, it's an internal family thing. And then we decided
there's so many elements to this. Yeah.
So to move from the beach to literally they call it Waco is like, they call it HOT, Heart of Texas.
Yeah.
So we were going from,
the dream city in California, Encinitas.
Dream. Yeah. To the middle of Texas. Even Joanna's dad, his name's Jerry.
Okay.
I had an interview with him, and he said, I am going to convince you not to move here. He was like, my job right now in this conversation is to give you a harsh reality of like what it's like to live in Waco, right? The middle of Texas from Encinitas.
Yeah.
And he's like, if your eyes wide open and still want to come out here, great. But he was like, I'm gonna give you the real kind of picture of what it's like here. Mm-hmm. And part of me was like, I like y'all even more.
Yeah, you're like, this is it.
Because who does that?
Yeah. So and then you came onto that. Was that the first role you came onto? Was that role or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So stepped into this kind of head of digital role. Okay. And then I just started asking a lot of questions. Like, when you get into a new company, you're just trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to understand the rhythms, and you're trying to understand kind of what we've done, what we haven't done. I was responsible for kind of all revenue and the experience of all the ways that Magnolia came to life digitally, which is a lot of responsibility. And so I start asking questions and seeing like, who owns this, who does this. If I want to do this, who would I kind of go to? What would it look like? And ultimately, it came to, I don't know the exact kind of order of events, but it came to me saying like, I think I want to lead marketing. I don't know.
How did you get there? Like, how did, like in your brain, like what was, like you're asking who's owning this, who's owning this, who's owning this. And you're like, I think
so
you need somebody in this space.
At the time, Magnolia was full of a lot of really talented people, but it was very,
like fragmented,
siloed. Yeah.
Funny enough, the thing is called the silo, right? Isn't it?
Well, and the marketing team at Magnolia was really a creative production team at the time. Like it was a team of writers and graphic designers and really, really talented people. And it was led by a woman who was wonderful, but didn't necessarily want to like oversee marketing. She really wanted to oversee kind of creative vision. And, and so I came to a gentleman named Doug McNamee, who's the president of Magnolia at the time, and to Chip and Joe. And I said, hey, I see a vision for a role that sits over this, really a CMO role, and orchestrates all of this together, because I'm running into some issues where, this doesn't work because this team isn't working with this team or working with
Can you give us an example of something that wasn't working? So when someone's going, I don't have a CMO in my organization, and I just realized that I need that because the pain point Stone is highlighting I have. What was
a lot of it was like, I would say, okay, well, I want to run for our e-com business. I want to run an ad. Maybe it's a digital ad. Maybe it's a print ad. I want to do something. So my first question is like, can I do that? And in there it was like, well, I don't know. Who makes that decision? I'm like, well, I don't know. Do we make the decision? And then it was like, do we have the budget for it? And it was like, oh, I don't know. Who makes the budget decision? Is there a budget? And then it's like, who designs it? Well, the creative team will design it, but who's giving them the creative? So it was kind of a lot of those like, oh, we need to take a step back and we need to have someone who is looking holistically at the team structure, the communication structure, the budget framework, and what we need to understand if what the kind of right and left hand are doing. They're both supporting the same thing. And so I don't know if that answers your question, but it just was really me saying, well, there's these 10 things that we need to pull this off. Who's going
to be the person that pulled the trigger on
that? Who does that?
Yeah.
And there wasn't really anybody that was like, oh yeah, that's my work. Yes. Nobody
could give you a clear, like, oh, this is how we do it. And so you started, and so you have this conversation with Chip Joanna, and you said that.
And Doug. Yeah.
And what did they say when you offered that?
And so I kind of said, this is what I think it looks like. And they said, okay, interesting. Yeah, I see that.
They're like, yes.
Yeah. And so they said, well, yeah, I mean, if we're going to create a CMO role, because there wasn't really a CMO role at the time, which is interesting, in that business particularly, is such a critical thing now. But they said, that's great, but we're going to actually create the role, and we're going to go through a full, onboarding, hiring type,
I love it.
Search.
You're like, I've identified a need. Here you go. I think I can do it. They're like, we think the need is there. We want to check every option.
Yeah, they did. And so that was both humbling. I'm like, and also I'm like, I get it. Yeah. I would, if I was y'all, I would do the same thing. Mm-hmm. But I said, hey, I want to have my name in the hat. Like, I want to be, I was bolder than I typically am. I'm typically not quite that bold. But I'm like, no, I want to be in the running for it. And so I interviewed for it and went through the same process as I don't know how many other people.
Oh gosh. Wow.
And I got the role. The day I got the role, I got an email from Chip that I have printed out now. And the email says, congratulations, don't screw it up, Chip.
I love it.
And that's how I felt. Literally, I felt like it's one thing to say they need something. It's another thing for them to agree and say there's a need, and then a whole new thing to say, and I'm going to be the solution to that. I'm like, oh shoot. Yeah. Like, can I smoke what I sold? You know, kind
totally.
Of thing. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like there's a difference between being like, all right, I can articulate it. Now I got to actually do it. And that's the different thing. What are you most proud of at your time at Magnolia? Like something you did that you're like, or part of that you're like, this is what or not directly involved in, that you're like, I was so proud of this, like at my time there.
I think it's kind of what I just described, where I came into it when there wasn't a lot of systems. Yeah. Honestly, the first week I started there, they stopped filming the show.
Okay.
Obviously, we built a television network and they started filming it again.
Yeah.
But my first week there, I had a meeting with Joanna, and she said, hey, you should probably know this is our last season of Fixer Upper. It was season 5. Okay. And so she said in our meeting, we need you to help build a sustainable business without us. Without us on TV. Yeah. The TV show is going to go away, and we need this business to continue. And so that was like, oh wow, that's that's a big thing. And obviously it's not just on me. It was a big team of folks all collectively doing great work together. But the thing I think I'm most proud of is like the systems we built to kind of step back and say, okay, like they have built an incredible business on a lot of momentum, like just this kind of viral momentum, but there wasn't a lot of, kind of structural systems in place, when some of that stuff would go away. Right. Yeah. Kind of like a jet engine, but maybe without the structure or wings or whatever. And so we built some really great systems for growth.
And so when you've gone into other places what was the transition like? How long ago did you leave the CMO role? Like, what was that? You started doing what after that?
After Magnolia? Yeah. We came into COVID.
Okay, got it.
COVID was, so much of Magnolia's business
was people coming into.
People coming in. So COVID was
like
really
Disneyland in Waco. You're going.
Yeah, and so a lot of those businesses, during COVID, just like everywhere else in the world, had to shut down for a season. At that time, this other, Uncommon James.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
Had started conversation. Mm-hmm. They had reached out to me, and obviously I've heard of Nashville. Yeah. But that's
no
pretty much but like no joke, that's pretty much it. Like I've heard of Nashville. Nashville to me was like a place. To me, it was just like country music radio kind of. Yeah. And I love country music. So, but I really had no desire to come here, like even for fun or something like that. But it was intriguing, and I start looking things up, and I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of pretty there, and I don't know, maybe this could be something. My wife was like, no, we're not. Really? Like, we're staying in Waco. We're not going to uproot, things right now. But I just kind of had this like I don't know why. I was like, I think this is something we should do.
Yeah.
And anyway, she got on board. It was
did you like, were you like, did you sense an end to your time at Magnolia and then you were like, this opportunity, or like what was the transition like for a role of that nature to be in such a big thing and be like, I'm going to be done?
Yeah. I don't know. And to this day, you don't
have an answer for that.
I don't have peace about that, actually.
Wow.
I don't feel like my time at Magnolia was done.
Oh, wow.
The whole COVID thing was just wonky, man.
Dude, it's fair, man.
I think it was like the business was like, we just had to draw so much back and that it was like, I don't know. It was really stressful.
Yeah.
I think my role went from like stressful to like crazy stressful.
Right. Because you had to make magic happen in a time where no one's buying anything.
Yeah. And so I think I made a decision out of that of and at the time at Magnolia, we're overseeing a lot of different business. I mean, 14, 15 different businesses. I don't know how many it was, but from retail to real estate.
And were you were over not just digital experience at that point? When you were CMO, you were over retail as well, marketing for all of that as well?
Yeah. Everything from the bakery to the coffee shop, to the restaurant, to the silos, the real estate business, to all of that, which is a lot. And so I think when that all cranked up and the stress level hit like threat level 100, I was like, I need just personally to like,
I got it.
Slow it.
Yeah.
And so the thought of like being over one business, it was like, oh, that sounds like things.
How did you, like, I didn't know it was all of those elements were also tied into this. I thought it was a section of Magnolia. But inside of this, how did you orchestrate all of those interactions? Like, did you have,
well, that's part of like, man, it was,
did you have people in place? Like, what were you doing? Or were you just going into each one yourself?
Well, we built basically like an internal agency.
Okay.
So
at Magnolia, like that was servicing all of these different...
Servicing all of those things.
Okay.
So they really all did function as like their own business.
Okay.
And we have, and they still have, I think to this day, like this kind of internal agency that services all those different businesses.
Okay.
But that was one of the things that I was running up against. Yeah.
Okay.
And we brought everything in from like web dev and design, and all of that was brought internal. When I came in, a lot of that was all external agencies. And so we were able to bring it in, create systems and processes, and save a lot of money in the process of, I think in a business, there's a great time when you should outsource your talent, right?
Yeah.
Because, but then Magnolia was at a size where it's like, okay, now actually it's time to bring it all in so we can move quicker.
Yeah.
There was just big changes needed to happen every day.
Yeah.
And so it just didn't work as well.
The speed was too demanding for you to have to go through the processes of working with outside agencies and all kinds of stuff. Wow. And so you moved to Nashville, you start working with Uncommon James, and now for you have a boutique. How do you pronounce it? Is that house? Is that how you say it? Like,
it is a made up word. I call it Hayes. It looks like house, Haeus. I like the way A's and E's look together. It feels kind of Scandinavian to me. And when you're like trying to think about names, like I was just like, one is like, I need to find a name that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That I can get like the URL, and the social handles and all the things.
And so now you do that. What is the main thing you're focusing on now? Like when you're helping brands, like what is the main thing you're coming in and doing as your agency?
And it's so different with everybody, honestly. Okay. And that's one of the challenges for me. And, I'd love to build something that I could kind of step back from. I think ultimately that's probably where I've gone wrong in a lot of this, like just to be really humble or transparent. But I function as like a fractional CMO.
Okay.
And so just the same way, if I was to go into one company as a CMO or another company as a full-time CMO, it's just that role is going to look different depending on what that company is. So right now I work with, kind of brands all over the country, but, the role in one brand might be like, hey, my primary kind of focus is building an internal team. With another brand, it might be, leading an existing team. With another brand, it might be, I work with some that are really there. I work with one company right now that is incredibly small, but they have had a lot of success on Shopify.
Okay.
And so it's like 3 people in the company. And so I'm doing a more kind of like,
wow.
we're that one's just kind of scrappy,
Yeah.
right? And we're just doing everything.
Okay. If you had to build the team, we'll end with this. If you had to build a team right now for that, if you had to expand that 3-person team that's having a ton of success in Shopify, what is this thing you're doing right now to help that team go to the next place? And we'll end with this. Tell me
what would be my
what are you coaching that team of 3 that's having tons of success in Shopify? What are you coaching that team up or thinking about to get that team?
Yeah,
to
well, the team of 3 is 2 founders and me.
Oh gosh!
So there's no team, but they've created a product that is for a niche community that has just had it. You know, it's
are you allowed to talk about the product? Do you care?
Well, they make they make a unique cup. Honestly,
is this the gas cap?
Yeah.
The mug that is in the shape of a gas can thing.
Yeah, like an oil filter.
Yes, that's the thing. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, and so what's unique about them is they've created a product that didn't exist really, and they did it really, really well.
It looks so cool.
They built a really quality product.
Yeah.
And then they focused on a really niche community that what's unique about that product is when someone in that community sees it, they get it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to explain it really. It's like an instant emotional attachment that turns into a need. And it's at a price point where they can say, oh, I don't even have to think about it. Right.
Yeah.
Purchase. So,
what's your next stage with them then? So
I mean, I think for their world, like the next stage, if I was to invest in who's the next person, it would be probably a creative, designer.
Okay.
I think brands that have creative needs, kind of unending creative needs, or growing brands. Yeah. I got to sit with. You ever heard of Ollie Vitamins?
Yes.
Ollie, they make their Target.
Yes, yeah.
I was at a venture capital lunch and I got to sit next to the guy who started Ollie Vitamins, and he said that to me. I said, y'all are growing really quickly. What's who are you hiring the most of to scale with your growth? And he's like, designer. We can't.
Really?
Yeah. It's just it's an unending need. So anyway, I would hire a designer. That'd be my first step. Second step would be probably someone in performance marketing.
Okay.
Those would be my first 2, I guess.
Wow. Love it. What's the name of that brand again? Because I the gas can or the oil can.
Oil. Yeah, it's called Clutch Gear.
Clutch Gear. I saw you post about it. I was like, that looks so. I'm not a car guy, so I'm like, I don't really have that immediate thing to it. But I saw it and I was like, that looks really cool. That looks well done.
That is an example of what we talked about earlier, where they, obviously they had a lot of R&D, right? They had to go to these factories and create these aluminum vessels, right? But the after the product exists, which, and I wasn't in that. They, Tyler and Trevor, who did that, ton of time and effort and money and energy. But the website to launch and that, it's just, gangbusters. They've been incredibly successful. And so that's like an area where it's like, you can go launch on e-com, and, they didn't have to go to all these different retail stores and try to sell their vision. They just went straight to the community that they built it for. So,
so good. Well, Stone, thanks for hanging out with me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude.